welcome to this week's edition of Dragway Memories. Got lots to show you again this week. We're going to start off with some Bob Steyer shots, modified in gas.
Burstler and Parsons, this is when A, B, and C super modified. Initially it was just super modified. They later classed it in A, B, and C. A was big blocks and usually had like 396s. A super modified was allowed an 850 Holley carburetor. It was kind of a spec kind of carburetor. B and C super modified restricted to 750. So this one was a big block car, and they did very well with this car. A lot of gear jamming, and sadly super modified. Look at the motor wheel super flies on the front. Very cool. I think that's Dr. Bob's car in the background on the ramp truck. Great time to be a racing fan. Modified production action here at Dragway Park. We've got some altereds here at Dragway Park. Class racing, gotta love it. A altered, that's a classical gas. Cliff Satursky, late model Hemi. In the other lane, C or D altered. In this case, it's a D altered Big John Torelli. Later went on to form Torelli Pro Cars and have done a whole lot of very cool chassis stuff, including Chris Smith's 33 Willys, which was quite proud of that car. This thing chopped and channeled in constant evolution. The classical gas car went to Chuck Nagy, who put a 340 in there and started his bracket racing career in earnest. Diagnolo Brothers out of Webster, New York, near Rochester. They have campaigned this car forever. They bought it, it was originally SSRS 350 4-speed car, and a lady bought it new and had all kinds of trouble driving it under warranty. She had to replace some clutches, transmission, and finally blew the motor. Who knows if her son was racing it? We don't know, but anyways, it sat at the dealership, and the huge arguments of who's going to pay for this repair. Diagnolo said, well, we'll buy it, and they helped the lady get a different car. I think it was a Monte Carlo, actually, that the lady ended up with, an automatic. And this car has been a race car ever since, running in such categories as here in G gas. So it'll be a small inch, very tall gear, Chrysler 4-speed in the car, and it went through super modified stages, where it's now in a super stock production E-1 or super stock C super modified would be another category which it would fall into. They do try to race some NHRA divisionals and the National Opens with the car, but the indexes are pretty tough for that car now. So Pete Diagnolo drives the car for his dad and uncle, and that car is still a powerhouse and did very well at one of the John Scotty races where it won Saturday and Sunday. And that is a force to be reckoned with. 67 Camaro SSRS original 350 4-speed car.
This is the end of the box art for now, folks. Enjoy. our continuing Canadian Pro Stock series this week. It's the Ford of Canada Mustang.
Canadian Pro Stock Drag Racing. This is 1970, the Ford of Canada Performance Clinic. That is the famous Titanic. Rig in the background, Ken Sherry custom painted all of these 4 vehicles and the rig itself. I don't know how many gallons of candy lacquer they used, but it was an awful lot. The cars were beautifully prepared. There was some changes in the lineup of who was going to drive this car. People like Scott Wilson was involved and then not involved. They ended up with some very stout racers. This car was a bit of an orphan early on. This car was an original Boss 429 KK car, 1969. They converted it to a 1970 and converted it to SOHC, single overhead cam. You'll notice the wing on the back was outlawed. Never allowed to run with this wing. They had lots of problems getting this car to a competitive level. Mike Woods finally brought in, and I think that's Brad Francis driving this car at this point. He had the most success that I know. It got into at least one pass, made a 1035, which would be fairly competitive when they were going 990s, 10.0s on a national event level in Pro Stock in 1970. Regionally, 1050s, 1030s, 1020s would be quite common. So this car was just about in the hunt. They ran out of development time, and there's the motor, there's the intake manifold that Brad Francis engineered. It's got a Chevy big block top on it and individual muffler pipe lengths. Before that, it had a low riser and 2 sets of carb spacers, and it just didn't work. Sadly, this car was supposed to go back to Dearborn, and for many years it was known to have gone back to Dearborn and crushed. I talked to Don Palmer, who said, yeah, it was supposed to go. Somehow never made it back to the mothership, and Barry Crane and some friends got a hold of this car. They were going to make a mini pro car out of it for a TID racing in 72, and they had some misfortune with the car, couldn't really get anything going, and they got frustrated with it. And remember, this is a real 69 Boss 429 car. They cut it all up and destroyed it. This car definitely no longer exists.
Here's some more Bob Steyer shots. thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed what you saw. If you did, please hit that subscribe button and the like button. Gonna take a couple of weeks off, reload with some new content. Bill and I have just recently got some new footage that we're really excited about. So, remember, hook hard, go straight, never be late, and may your God bless you. See you in a little bit.